On the day of the concubine selection, I accidentally heard the emperor's inner thoughts. This one looks a bit like Minister Zhang. This one is carved from the same mold as Vice Minister Gua. Isn't this one just a female version of General Lian? Damn it. What's the difference between this and just taking my ministers into the harem? Isn't there anyone who doesn't look like her own dad? Hearing this, I silently lowered my head, for no other reason than I'm just not my dad's biological daughter. But the emperor accidentally caught a glimpse of me from the corner of his eye, and his eyes lit up. It's her. I am the concubine-born daughter of the Minister of Rights family. My father in name is a fifth-rank official in the capital city. Not too high-ranking, not too low-ranking. My mother was once the young lady of a wealthy family, but unfortunately, her fate was not good. She married a husband, but the very next year, she was exiled along with him after their family's assets were confiscated. It was at this time that my dad found my pregnant mother and took her in. He was my mother's most loyal lackey. In my memory, whenever my mother so much as frowned slightly, he would wish he could search the entire capital city for fun things to cheer my mother up. Because of this, my status in the mansion was also not low. My food, clothing, and daily expenses were all the same as my older legitimate sisters. Unfortunately, my dad couldn't protect the two of us for a lifetime. He passed away from illness a year ago. In northern Zhao, official positions are passed down for 3 generations, so my older brother became the new Minister of Rights. My legal mother finally turned the tables to become the master and started tormenting my mother and me. So when the emperor's concubine selection came up, she couldn't wait to send me into the palace. Just because the current emperor is allergic to women and has a violent temperament, the women in the palace are either executed by him over some trivial matter or are miserably living as grass widows. Of course, she couldn't bear to let her own biological daughter enter the palace. My mom is a bit different. She's extremely confident in me. Jojo, let's get in there, outshine all the beauties, and become a person above others. I politely refused. No way, I don't want to die in the palace. She smoothed my hair. If you die in the palace, Mom will risk her old life to avenge you. So, Jojo, go for it without worry. I was sweating bullets. Can't we just all live well? Her expression turned serious. This is our only chance, Jojo. The taste of power is just too wonderful. I don't understand what's so wonderful about it. I only know that my mom wants me to give it a try, so we'll give it a try. On the day of the selection, Mom personally did my hair and makeup, with just a light touch of powder and rouge, a simple dress and dark hair. I still looked extremely stunning. She said, "Men love this kind of contrast." I nodded perfunctorily, letting her do whatever she wanted. Who asked me to dote on her? The sun was shining brightly today. I was dragged out of bed by her so early that during the selection, I was standing below, drowsy from the sun. Just as I was about to fall, a deep male voice suddenly sounded by my ear. This one looks a bit like Minister Zhang. This one is carved from the same mold as Vice Minister Gua. Isn't this one just the female version of General Lian? What the hell is the difference between this and just taking my ministers into the harem? Is there not a single one who doesn't look like her own dad? I jolted violently and became wide awake. I looked up, and the place was so quiet you could clearly hear the cicadas. No one was speaking at all. I couldn't help but glance at the emperor, only to see him frowning and pacing back and forth. That voice came again. So annoying, so annoying. I already hate women, let alone a bunch of them who look like old geezers. Mother Empress, can we just kill them all? Hearing this, I silently lowered my head. It seems I've gained some kind of incredible ability. I can actually hear the emperor's thoughts, but I don't want to enter the palace. I just came to try to fulfill my mother's wish and dispel her absurd ideas. Besides, this emperor really does seem to be very tyrannical. Don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. I chanted this over and over in my heart. After all, I'm not my dad's biological daughter. According to his abstract selection method, the probability of me being chosen is extremely high. Whatever you fear is sure to happen. The emperor was glancing around restlessly, and accidentally caught me in his peripheral vision, his eyes lighting up. Her then, "Mom, my life is over." Those 3 short words instantly made my heart turn to dead ashes. The emperor quickly walked up to me, sizing me up and down. Which family? I haven't even seen her during court. I secretly rolled my eyes and curtsied to him, replying to your majesty. This subject is the younger sister of the Minister of Rights, Song Joha, 16 years of age. At that moment, Eunuch Su said something in his ear, and his face relaxed imperceptibly. A concubine's daughter, even better. They told me to choose a woman for the palace, but they didn't say what for. Concubine, humph, I don't want a single one. Then he tossed a jade pendant into my arms. Report to Xianxia Palace. The rest of you, get out. So Eunuch Su shouted in his shrill voice. Song Joha, sister of the Minister of Rights, is a virtuous character, diligent and gentle, and is hereby appointed as the Grand Imperial Maid of Presence. My vision went black. Is this damn emperor sick in the head? Being an Imperial Maid of Presence is way more dangerous than being a concubine. An unfavored concubine might not see the emperor even once the whole year. An Imperial Maid of Presence has to see him every day. What happened to being allergic to women? Won't he get annoyed to death by me hanging around in front of him all day? I was so angry that I wrote a letter to my mom that very night. Mom, my life is over. Prepare for revenge. My mom wrote back to me. Jojo, those who wish to achieve great things must first endure what ordinary people cannot. I furiously tore the note to shreds. Haha, I'm about to become a dried-up corpse, and my mom is still thinking about me achieving great things. Truly the best mom in the whole world. On my first day of work, I just stood by a pillar in the Xianxia Palace like a soldier, because there was really nothing to do. Eunuch Su said I could try serving tea to the emperor. Eunuch Su also said that last time, a concubine was pouring tea for the emperor and was executed because her posture was wrong. In the entire Xianxia Palace, besides the eunuchs and me, there wasn't a single female. Not even the mosquitoes were an exception, so I chose to become one with the pillar, a living sculpture in the Xianxia Palace. The emperor came back from the morning court session, his face cold and grim, full of complaints. The Minister of Justice deserves a slap, and Minister Zhang deserves too. Idiots. All of them are idiots. My mouth is dry from talking. Where's the tea? Where's my tea? What is everyone in the Xianxia Palace good for? I quietly shuffled a step behind the pillar, but accidentally bumped into Eunuch Su, who was also hiding. He covered his mouth and said, "This pillar can't hide two people. I usually hide here. You go over there." How would I dare move? Am not going. His Majesty seems thirsty. You go add some for him. Eunuch Su is a pound more cunning than I am, and 20 pounds heavier. He shoved me out with one but bump. Hey, I appeared before the emperor, caught off guard, and ran into a pair of pitch-black, cold eyes. Idiot. Maybe I should just kill them. Hearing that, I immediately became alert. What a coincidence. Your Majesty, you're here too. Your Majesty must be tired from holding court. You must be thirsty. This servant will go refill your tea right away. I forced a smile, grabbed the teapot in front of him, and ran. As I passed Eunuch Su, I didn't forget to glare at him. You just wait. After coming back with the refilled teapot, I was in a pickle again. In what exact posture should I pour tea for the emperor so that he won't kill me? Eunuch Su never taught me. What are you waiting for? For us to do it ourselves. The emperor spoke up. I dared not hesitate any longer. With a back bend, the tea poured out of the pot, following the motion of my bending. Every single drop landed precisely on the emperor. Song Joha. The emperor was furious. I fell to my knees with a thump. Your Majesty, spare my life. This is already the most non-repetitive tea pouring posture this servant could think of. It's just that I haven't practiced enough and am still clumsy. I beg your Majesty to spare this servant's worthless life. I will definitely practice diligently and absolutely won't make a mistake again. This servant has elders and children at home. I can't die. I really can't die. To save my life. I blurted out a whole stream of gibberish. The emperor was so angry he laughed. The creations of heaven and earth are unpredictable. To think they could produce an idiot like you. I was wondering why the imperial kitchen never serves a pig's head. Turns out the real pig's head is right here. A villain racking their brain is really no match for a fool's flash of inspiration. Hesavicious. Having never been scolded like this in my entire life, my eyes instantly turned red. I fought hard not to cry, but a few tears still dripped onto the ground. Woo-woo, Mom. He scolded me. Unexpectedly, the emperor enjoys seeing people cry, and his mood instantly improved, because I heard him say in his mind, a kind word warms 3 winters, but harsh words are so much fun. Ha 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 ha. This is the first time someone cried after being scolded by us. This is hilarious. Mother consort, I've mastered my venomous tongue. Ha ha ha. I silently wiped away my tears. Damn lunatic. In the end, I was fined 1 month's salary, and I also have to repeatedly practice the move of bending backwards to pour tea, until I can pour it accurately into the cup. Thus, Xianxia Palace had a new, miserable woman who spent all day bending over backwards. On this day, the emperor was reading his daily memorials, constantly grumbling in his head. Such ugly handwriting. It's unbearable to look at. A woman in Jingzhou found something and returned it. Why send a memorial for such a trivial matter? A complete waste of our time. The Hangzhou textile commissioner has asked if we're well 800 times this month already. I've never seen him write about anything else. Every day he asks if we eat peaches. We're not a monkey. Thinking of us. General Lian is truly disgusting. Save me. This is just too funny. Who would believe the ruler of a nation spends all day in Xianxia Palace reading these memorials? Ha ha ha. Maybe the smile on my face was too big, and it caught the dog emperor's attention. He stared at me gloomily, smiling like a dazed fox. Why does she get to be so idle? We must find something for her to do. Me. Danger. Song Joha. I bowed. This servant is here. Mop the floor. Me. Does your majesty mean this area, or the entire Qianqing palace? He snorted coldly. Mop it all. Dazed fox. You just had to ask. If you had only mopped the study, we wouldn't have said anything more. I really shouldn't have asked that. What a miserable life. Life. As fragile as a broken palm. Suddenly thinking of something, I immediately raised my hand and said, Your Majesty, Eunuch Su is also idle with nothing to do. He glanced at Eunuch Su. Very good. You drag it along with Song Joha. Oh yeah, revenge successful. At night, I once again wrote a letter to Mom via the pigeon. Mommy, the work Jojo did today was more than the last 16 years combined. I want to die, but I was halfway through hanging myself when I pulled my neck out, because it was a bit ticklish, and I didn't have the strength. Mom wrote back, Jojo, you must know, the greater the ability, the greater the ability. I was about to tear up the note, but on second thought, I put it away. Next time I want to kill myself, I'll look at Mom's reply, and maybe you'll be even more motivated. Some time passed peacefully. By now, I could skillfully do a backbend to pour tea for the emperor. Although this move is shameful, luckily Qianqing Palace basically only has Eunuch Su and the emperor in it. The emperor would also dismiss me when he discussed matters with his ministers. Anyway, I no longer see them as human, so shame and whatnot naturally don't exist. But this time, an outsider happened to see the whole thing. After being in the palace for so long, this is the first time I've seen a living concubine, in a backbend pose. Who gets it? I was halfway through pouring tea when a pale, upside-down human face suddenly appeared in front of me. I was so scared my legs turned to jelly, and I fell into the emperor's arms along with the teapot. His Majesty the Emperor, forgive my crime. I quickly scrambled off him and apologized with practiced skill. The emperor tried his best to hold it in, then gritted his teeth and squeezed out 3 words. Song, Jio, he. I lowered my head. This servant knows her mistake. It won't happen again. Consort Liang rubbed her chin and stared at me, a hint of vigilance in her eyes, and asked the emperor in a coy voice, Your Majesty, is this the new palace maid from last time? She's so unruly. Humph. The emperor was roaring incessantly in his mind, making my ears buzz. Stop touching your damn chin. It's bad enough you look like Minister Zhang, but even your mannerisms are exactly the same. Damn that Minister Zhang. Sending one wasn't enough. He actually wants to send another. Mother Empress, you have truly made your royal son suffer. It turns out all the concubines in the harem were selected to enter the palace by the late Empress Dowager. The emperor is a mama's boy, so no matter how unwilling he was, he could only go along with her. Besides Consort Liang, only Consort Wei and Zhao Lu are left alive in the palace now. Your Majesty, seeing that the emperor was ignoring her, Consort Liang spoke again, forcing her voice to be coy. The emperor's eyes were cold as he replied flatly, None of your damn business. Oh my god, Prime Minister Zhang is acting all cute towards me. It's terrifying. Consort Liang faltered, but still wasn't discouraged. She took the food box and placed it in front of the emperor. I have been diligently studying the culinary arts these past few days and made some pastries. Would your Majesty care for a taste? Su Shurda. The emperor completely lost his patience, trying to poison me again. Dream on. That consort's son who tried to poison me last time while pretending to refill my tea has already been killed by me. A bunch of clowns. Eunuch Su, getting the hint, immediately threw out the pastries along with the box. Consort Liang pouted, feeling incredibly wronged. How can your Majesty be so heartless? I've been feeling so down lately, and making these pastries took so much effort. You don't even know. My hands got burned. The emperor leisurely looked at his memorial. You do seem quite off. If you have any troubles, you can keep them to yourself. Don't tell me. If you want to be thrown out like that food box, then by all means, keep staying here and annoying me. Your Majesty Consort Liang whined, not giving up. I am the freaking Shu Road Mountain. The emperor's tone was devoid of emotion, yet it carried a strange hint of coldness. This servant takes her leave. A wise person adapts to the circumstances. She had always been one to yield or stand firm as the situation required. At worst, She would just come back next time when His Majesty was in a better mood. Consort Liang immediately swung her hips and quickly fled. I stood on the side, enjoying the drama with great relish. Oh, so the consort who served tea before was executed because she was caught poisoning someone. Huh, then wasn't my backbend practice all for nothing? But that dog emperor really doesn't know what's good for him. Consort Liang is fair-skinned and beautiful, with a graceful figure. How does she look anything like that old man Minister Zhang? Just as I was still feeling sorry for Consort Liang, the dog emperor suddenly called out my full name. Song Joha. I snapped to attention. This servant is here. He took a sip of tea and spoke softly. Come here and let Jin hug you. Me, Your Majesty. This servant sells her skills, not her body. If you really must hug me, you'll have to pay extra. I clutched my chest and said with a straight face, to be honest, last time when head eunuch Su was bathing the emperor, I accidentally took a peek. His body is simply hiss. His pecs are huge, his abs are huge, everything is huge. I've been craving it for a very, very long time. His brow furrowed. You want me to pay you after hugging you? You're taking everything, aren't you? My tone was resolute. Although this servant is a palace maid, I am still a girl from a respectable family. This is a separate price. I'll fleece some more wool off the emperor to send to mother. Hee. The emperor fell silent, thinking. She just fell into my arms. I touched her, but I didn't get sick. Right. The Empress Dowager said I would definitely find the woman who doesn't make me sick someday. Could it be this dumb fox? But this dumb fox doesn't seem like a good person. Whatever. I'll give it a little try. So he took out 2 gold ingots, stood up and placed them in my hands. Come, hug me. I happily tucked the 2 ingots away and pounced on him, hugging his lean waist and feeling his big pecs with my face. The emperor stiffened instantly. I could hear his heart beating violently. I'm screwed. Is he going to get sick now? Just as I was about to let go, he pulled me tightly into his embrace. Dumb fox. So soft. My face instantly flushed red, and I pushed him away. You spicy ballot. You ungrateful thing. How dare you take advantage of me? My pair of fox eyes stared at him inscrutably. He got the creeps from my staring, coughed lightly and said, What are you looking at me for? I've already paid. More money. Wish I'll die. I just repeated. More money. He felt guilty and resentfully tossed an ingot to me. Damn it. Am I not the emperor? How dare she speak to me like that? At night, I wrote to my mother again. Mom, Jojo was taken advantage of by him today. But it wasn't a loss for me. I got 3 gold ingots. Mom, take them and buy some yummy food. Mom replied to me. This is a good thing, you brat. You did pretty well for yourself. I looked up at the sky at a 45 angle, letting the tears flow into my heart. I'm never writing her a letter again. Humph. The emperor's birthday arrived, and Prince Jean specially rushed back from his fief to celebrate it for him. But he had never liked lively events, so he didn't allow them to hold a palace banquet. So the 2 brothers started drinking in Xianxia Palace. Prince Jean showed off to him. Imperial brother. I'm raising a cat that can do backflips. It's so much fun. The emperor's inexplicable competitive spirit was ignited. What's so great about that? I have a palace maid who can do a backbend and pour tea. Oh. Prince Jean's interest was piqued. Quick. Let me see. Song. The emperor had just called out the first word when his gaze met mine. I looked at him with a beaming smile, with the full intention that if you dare make me perform a backbend tea pouring in public, I'll dare to ram my head into a pillar and die. Crap. Why does she look a little like she wants to die? Forget it. Forget it. Girls are all thin-skinned. So he changed the topic. Send 2 pots of peach blossom wine to Prince Jean. Prince Jean was bewildered. Imperial brother. There are already a full 10 pots here. We can't finish them all. Has the palace maid who can do a backbend to pour tea taken leave to go home? I really want to see it. How about you gift her to me, brother, and I'll take her back to my fiefdom to watch at my leisure. The emperor was greatly displeased. Don't make me smack you at my happiest moment. This bastard has loved snatching my things since he was a kid. Snatching mother concubine from me. Snatching crickets. Snatching kites. There's nothing he wouldn't dare to snatch except for the throne. And now he wants to take away the silly fox. Dream on. Thinking of the Empress Dowager, he raised his wine cup and drank it all down. Xiao Jing. Mother has been gone for 5 years now. Prince Jean sighed with the same sentiment. Yeah, time really flies. The former emperor died young. The emperor was only 4 when he ascended the throne, and Prince Jean was merely 1. It was the Empress Dowager who ruled from behind the curtain, holding up the sky for her 2 sons. She personally taught the emperor how to be an enlightened ruler. She had the 2 brothers read and practice riding, ride horses and practice archery together. She was both a father and a mother to them. The emperor was very dependent on her. The Empress Dowager's passing 5 years ago was a huge blow to both brothers. Boo hoo 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 hoo, brother. I miss mother. Prince Jean drowned his sorrows in wine, crying his eyes out. To maintain his image as the elder brother, the emperor just patted his younger brother's shoulder to comfort him. It's alright. Imperial brother is still here. In reality, he was already crying a river of tears in his heart. Woo 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 woo. From now on, no one will cook longevity noodles for Jean on my birthday anymore. The 1825th day of missing Mother Concubine. I've really been a good emperor. Mother Concubine, did you see it? Woo woo. I've also raised little Jean well. I picked the most fertile fief for him. You don't need to worry, Mother Concubine. Woo 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 woo. I looked at the emperor, whose eyes were red-rimmed yet who was trying hard to hold it in, and was filled with emotion. Actually, he wasn't as tyrannical as the rumors say, nor would he kill the innocent indiscriminately. But he just has a purely nasty mouth. If the Empress Dowager were still here, he'd probably be just a child like me, who would go to his mother to complain and act spoiled. Prince Jean wiped away a tear and started talking business with the emperor. Imperial brother, don't you worry, sooner or later I'll find evidence of Minister Zhang's corruption, and then you won't have to put up with his crap all day. What followed was not something a palace maid like me could listen to. I consciously closed the door and walked out. The night grew darker. Prince Jean had already been escorted back to his manor by the guards. The emperor sat at the table with his eyes tightly closed, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Your Majesty, out with it. I placed a bowl of longevity noodles in front of him and said softly, Happy birthday. He opened his eyes, saw the noodles on the table, and looked at me, quite surprised, with a twinkle in my eyes. I said with a smile, back home, my mother would always cook me longevity noodles for my birthday. Your Majesty, why don't you try this humble servant's cooking? His eyes started to well up, and he said softly, Thank you. With the first bite, I immediately heard his inner thoughts. My God, in my entire life I've never eaten noodles this disgusting. I shouldn't have done this. Although I had already decided not to write to my mother anymore, this mama's girl really couldn't help it. Me, mother. Guess why His Majesty the Emperor doesn't need anyone to help him wipe his butt after he poops. Mother, me. Because His Majesty has imperial toilet paper and edict. This time, it was my mother's turn to completely ignore me. My mother and I were always used to writing notes at night, but that day, I suddenly received a letter from her at noon. Gio, mother is dying. Return quickly. The moment I saw the letter, my heart skipped a beat. I practically scrambled my way to the emperor's side. Your Majesty, I want to leave the palace. The emperor was originally drinking tea in a slow and unhurried manner. What's the matter? Why so flustered? I was so anxious that I burst into tears. My mother is dying. My mother is dying. His expression changed in an instant. He took out the token from his waist and handed it to me. Take this token and go. No one will stop you. Go quickly. With tears in my eyes, I thanked him, and then rushed home without stopping. Returning to the small courtyard where my mother and I lived, it had changed so much compared to when I left. The courtyard was dilapidated, the surrounding wall half collapsed. Pushing open the door, the broken furniture inside was toppled over and in disarray, scattered all over the floor. Mother was weakly leaning against the head of the bed, her face deathly pale, her hair messy, and her whole body covered in injuries. Mother, I immediately lunged over, tightly gripping her hand. The mother in my memory had brows like the stars and moon, eyes like autumn waters, and was the most beautiful woman in the capital city. But now, her face was haggard, and she was so frail it seemed she would shatter at a touch. I couldn't bear to imagine what she had gone through during the time I was in the palace. Mother, you lied to me again. Boo-hoo-hoo. Didn't you say you were fine? Didn't you say you could finally have some peace and quiet without me? Why are you so badly injured? Where does it hurt? I'll go get an imperial physician for you. His Majesty gave me a token. I'll summon all the best imperial physicians from the palace for you, and I'll get all the best doctors in the capital city for you. Okay. She shook her head, her breathing weak and rapid, as if every breath took all her strength. There's no need, Gio. She raised her hand and gently stroked the spot between my eyebrows. Mom knows perfectly well what condition her body is in. Mom knows it in her heart. To be able to see you one last time. Mom has no more regrets. I couldn't stop sobbing in her arms. No. Gio can't be without Mom. The rims of her eyes gradually turned red. Her voice choked with sobs. Gio, listen to Mom. Under the first tree outside the backyard gate, there are the land deeds and property that Mom left for you. If you're unhappy in the palace, after you leave at 25, you'll still have a home to return to. My tears streamed past my chin, all falling onto my lapel, and I shook my head frantically. But home is where Mom is. Mom cupped my face with both hands, pressing her forehead against mine just like when I was little. Jojo, Mom was only 17 when I just gave birth to you. Maybe there were many things Mom didn't do well enough, but Mom has always loved you. From the very first day I saw you. From now on, you don't have to pursue any power, just live as you please, be healthy and happy, even if you never bloom. Mom will still love you. As soon as her words fell, her hands dropped, and her whole body went limp on me. Mom. I held her tightly, no longer able to hold back my hoarse screams, tears streaming down my face. After carefully wiping Mom's body clean, I changed her into a set of clean clothes. I placed a kiss between her brows. Mom, Jojo is going to avenge you. Mom used to say that if I died in the palace, she would risk her life to avenge me. As her daughter, of course I have to learn from her. I wiped away my tears, grabbed a cleaver from the small kitchen, and headed for my primary mother's courtyard. Before I even entered, a burst of laughter came from inside. Turns out she had invited some of her shady friends over to play leaf cards. Well, isn't this that slut's daughter? One of the women said. A flash of disgust crossed my primary mother's eyes. Ignore her, it's your turn. I hid the cleaver behind my back and walked to my primary mother's side without a word. The moment she reached out to play her card, I pinned her hand down tightly. With a swift chop, blood splattered everywhere, and 2 of her fingers were severed on the table. Ahhhh. Startled by this sudden event, everyone quickly stood up and backed away. Then, as fast as lightning, I slapped the woman who had insulted my mom. If you have a filthy mouth, don't spew shit here. My primary mother clutched her hand and screamed. You little. A doctor. Go get a doctor. Quickly. Someone. Come. Quick. Seize this bitch. I casually pulled out a chair and sat down, took out the Imperial gifted golden token and held it high. To see this token is to see His Majesty. I'd like to see who dares lay a hand on me. In an instant, a whole group in the courtyard knelt down. Long live His Majesty. Long live His Majesty. The corners of my lips curled into a smile. Mother, you were right. The taste of power is truly wonderful. I didn't say rise, so they didn't dare to make a single move. Only the primary wife, Lady Lu, stared at me with eyes full of malevolence. I have something to say to Lady Lu. If you ladies have nothing else, you can all leave. Otherwise, this blade in my hand has no eyes. Yes, everyone in the courtyard dispersed, leaving only me and Lady Lu. They thought I entered the palace as a slave, and that my life must be miserable. After all, the Emperor's reputation for being ruthless is well known. Even my mother thought so, which is why she never dared to tell me about her own situation. Now that I've taken out the Imperial gifted token, Lady Lu's heart is filled with both hatred and unease, because it seems I'm doing much better than she had imagined. My mother is dead. Was it your doing? I didn't beat around the bush with her, and the words I spoke were not in a questioning tone. I just want the truth of exactly why my mother died. Madame Lu suddenly laughed upon hearing this. Dead? Ha 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 ha, this little is finally dead. I went up and grabbed her by the neck. The wounds on her body, they were all your doing. So what if it was? A vicious glint suddenly flashed in the depths of her eyes. I hate her to death. If it weren't for her, how could the master and I have grown so distant? So I dismissed all the servants in her courtyard, had people send her spoiled food every day, occasionally sent a few men over to serve her, and whenever I was in a bad mood, I'd grab her by the hair and smash her head on the ground. Ha 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 ha. Hearing this, my heart ached as if it were being sliced by 1,000 knives. I forcefully grabbed Madame Lu's hair and frantically smashed her head against the ground. Thud, thud, thud. After just a few blows, Madame Lu's head was already broken and bleeding. Was it like this? I'm asking you, was it like this? As I slammed her head, I raised my voice and asked. She lay limply on the ground like a dead dog, constantly muttering, "You can't kill me. You can't kill me. I am a court-appointed lady. My son is the director of the Ministry of Rights. If you kill me, you'll have to die too." Heh. I let out a light laugh. Just as I was about to say what's there to fear in death, a familiar voice suddenly came from behind me. A titled court lady, my ass. Do you even have an imperial patent? Xiao, just go ahead and kill her. I've got your back. His Majesty the Emperor had rushed over at some point, looking at Lady Lu with a face full of disgust. Your Majesty. He cleared his throat and gave a couple of dry coughs. I came to watch the fun. Pa, this damn mouth of mine. With Xiaojiu's mother dead, what fun is there to watch? I was obviously just worried about her. She won't misunderstand me, will she? She must be feeling very sad right now. My gaze softened, and I said, Your Majesty, since you're already here, why not help me with something? He immediately nodded. Go on. I want to throw Lady Lu into the military barracks and make her experience all the suffering my mother went through. He agreed without any hesitation. All right. After handling my mother's funeral affairs, I went to the tree in the backyard and dug up everything my mother had left for me. Inside were property deeds for a house in Jiangnan, as well as 2 shops, because we had once said that once we saved up enough money, we would go live in Jiangnan together. She hadn't spent a single one of the gold ingots I sent her from the palace. They were all placed in this heavy box, kept very safely. Also, the letters I sent her. Mom, the palace is so tiring. His Majesty the Emperor won't even let me doze off. Mom, Consort Liang came to make trouble for me again today, but I was clever and handled it easily. Mom, Jojo misses you so much, but palace maids can't just leave the palace. It's so annoying. At the very bottom was a sentence she left for me. Jojo, Mom is forever here, and loves you 100%. I hugged the box and slumped to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. The rain started to drizzle, and the Emperor held up an umbrella behind me, standing there quietly. After crying my fill, I wiped away my tears and looked up helplessly at the Emperor. His tone was uncharacteristically gentle. What's wrong? Me. My legs are numb. I can't get up. He sighed helplessly and reached out to pull me up. It's no use. They're too numb. I can't walk. My voice was still choked with sobs. Hold this. He handed me the umbrella and then swept me up by the waist. Where do you want to go? He asked. I was slightly taken aback. Aren't we going back to the palace? After all, my current status is still the Emperor's head palace maid. But he said, Zhen will give you your freedom. If you want to go to Jiangnan, the Prince of Jin is there. You can find him if you need anything. I gave a bitter smile. With Mom gone, what's the point of me going to Jiangnan alone? After a short pause, he said seriously, then you should still come back to the palace with Zhen. My eyes met his, and I heard him saying in his mind, it just so happens that I Zhen am an orphan too. If the dumb fox follows me Zhen, maybe she'll feel a bit more balanced. I was a little speechless. You can really never guess the Emperor's thoughts. What kind of decent person finds psychological balance this way? But I still nodded my head. The dog Emperor is actually quite lonely on a daily basis, with no one to truly confide in. It's pretty good for me to enter the palace and get a job, too. Oh yeah, the dumb fox is coming with me Zhen. Oh yeah, I can't look too happy. After all, she's still sad right now. Oh yeah, in the future, I'll get to eat more of those disgusting longevity noodles. I covered his mouth. You're so noisy. What does she mean? Did she cry herself stupid or something? Oh yeah, alright. We're like a chicken talking to a duck. Back at the palace, the atmosphere between me and the Emperor improved a lot. At least he wouldn't randomly assign me tasks to do when I was idle. Eunuch Su was having a really hard time. He was busy from morning till night. Occasionally, my conscience would kick in and I'd want to help, but he would stop me. Song Joha, if you don't want to do anything, it means you were born with the fate to enjoy life. Understand? He winked and made faces at me, but I just pretended not to understand the meaning in his eyes. Xiao Jiao, come play chess with me. The Emperor finished with his memorials and started calling for me. Eunuch Su hurriedly gave me a push. Hurry up, go on. Actually, I'm not very good at chess, and I originally planned to cheat by eavesdropping on the Emperor's thoughts, but alas, he was completely unpredictable. Oh, what if she captures my general? I'm so handsome I could die. Ha 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 ha. My head throbbed with pain, and I pushed the chessboard away. I'm not playing anymore. Hey, don't. I'll teach you. Look, if you move here, then there's nothing I can do. Right. I looked directly into his eyes and asked softly, Your Majesty, don't you think you're being a little too good to me? He instantly sat up straight and started speaking insincerely. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm just bored and looking for you to play with. Don't you get any improper ideas? I'll let it go this time. But don't think you're so important next time. But in his heart, he was clearly in a mess. I think I probably might actually be getting close to a woman for the first time. Why? But I feel happy whenever I see her. Why? Mother, just why is that? I shook my head and changed the subject. Your Majesty, why are you allergic to women? He frowned deeply. I don't know either, but back then, my mother found a Taoist priest for me, and that priest said I would only not have an allergic reaction when I meet the right person. At this point, he immediately clamped his mouth shut. Crap, how did I tell her everything? This will definitely make her think she's special. Right. Where is my imperial dignity? But the silly fox does seem to be special. I am indeed not allergic to her. Huh. While his mind was racing, Eunuch Su presented a memorial. Your Majesty, a secret report from Prince Jean. It turned out that all the evidence of Minister Zhang's corruption and bribery had been found. The money involved was in the tens of millions, and the officials implicated were also countless. My so-called elder brother was also among them. The emperor was furious, and dismissed many officials from their posts, only for my brother. He even ran up to me to report. I'm going to deal with your brother. You won't be sad, will you? Are you kidding me? I was about to explode with joy. Get him killed. Hee hee. He reached out and touched my forehead. Do you have a fever? You seem out of your mind. I shrugged. I'm not my dad's biological daughter anyway. What damn brother? I couldn't care less if he dies. He breathed a sigh of relief. That's good then. And so, a whole bunch of officials, including my damn brother, were all thrown into the great prison. The ringleader, Minister Zhang, was even sentenced to immediate execution, and his family was exiled to Mabe. After hearing about this, Consort Liang came crying and sobbing before the emperor, begging him to show leniency for the sake of their many years together. The emperor raised an eyebrow. I actually forgot about you, this mini-minister Zhang. Then, Consort Liang and the only two remaining consorts in the palace were all sent back. The emperor said, we are all one family, so of course we prosper and fall together. How can it be right for them to enjoy their lives in the palace? He swiftly and decisively arranged for the people he had carefully cultivated to fill the vacant positions in the court, and he abolished the system of official positions being passed down for 3 generations, appointing people based on merit. From then on, his endless rants could no longer be heard when he was reviewing memorials. Oh right, except for General Lien. Fuck. Why does this General Lien say he misses me every month? It's as disgusting as ever. In the blink of an eye, the Lunar New Year's Eve festival arrived. The emperor, for a change, arranged for a palace banquet to be held, and it was very lively, but the two of us, without prior arrangement, both returned to the courtyard of Qianqing Palace to admire the moon. With such a beautiful view, how can we go without fine wine? He had taken a few bottles of wine from the banquet and placed them on the stone table in front of me. I was very surprised. Why are you here too? He said casually. I never liked lively scenes anyway, but in his heart he was saying, on the first New Year's Eve after Empress Mother passed away, I also watched the moon and thought of her like this. Little Joe must be very sad right now. A warmth spread through my heart, and tenderness unknowingly filled the corners of my eyes and brows. He went ahead and poured me a glass of wine. Today was supposed to be a day for family reunions, but Xiao Jing just got married and didn't return to the capital. The two of us are in the same boat, I suppose. I'll drink to you. I took it with a smile and downed it in one go. Your Majesty, do you think my mother is watching me from heaven? He nodded with great certainty. Of course, my mother, the Empress Dowager, is probably watching me with her right now. So I filled my cup, aimed it at the moon, and said, Mother, Empress Dowager, you must bless His Majesty and me. He copied me and toasted the moon. Mother, Lady Song, while you're at it, please also bless the common people. Ha! I curled my lips and teased him. How much paper money did you burn for them that you dare to make such a big wish? He said proudly, I am the emperor. Naturally, I burn much more than anyone else. I didn't say any more, just kept drinking the sweet wine, one cup after another. The moonlight was hazy, and the sounds of music and dance from the palace banquet in the distance made the silence between the emperor and me even more profound. A thought suddenly began to bubble up in his mind. I'm 23 this year, and they're starting to rush me to install an empress again, but would Xiaojiu agree to it? I'm so stupid, really. Why did I make her the head palace maid back then? It would have been better even to make her a noble lady. If I just tell her this directly, she'll be scared, right? But the silly fox is really cute, and she understands me so well. We both don't have parents. We're simply a match made in heaven. Mother Empress, why didn't you teach me how to win a girl's heart? His mind was chattering away with so many thoughts, his face full of conflict. Your Majesty, I spoke up, interrupting his thoughts. I am willing. I said with a beaming smile. We both don't have parents. We're simply a match made in heaven. How did you know what I was thinking? My gaze softened, and I placed a kiss on the corner of his lips, then looked at him with a smile. I guess we're just on the same wavelength. He was completely stunned, standing frozen on the spot, with fireworks going off nonstop in his mind. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Xiaojiu kissed me. Ha ha ha. Pop crackle pop crackle. So soft. I want more. The next second, I kissed him again. He finally switched from defense to offense, pulling my entire body into his arms and kissing me like a greenhorn, both rushed and heavy. On the third day of the first lunar month, the emperor eagerly held the empress coronation ceremony. In June of the following year, I gave birth to a big, chubby boy. The emperor held me and our son, crying his eyes out with emotion. Xiaojiao, thank you for giving me a home. The pain made me fly into a rage, and I cursed, damn you Lu Jian, I'm never giving birth again. He hurriedly kissed my face, coaxing, we won't have any more, we won't have any more. Okay, but then later, Prince Jean came to show off in front of us, holding his sweet-smelling, soft little daughter. Looking at that little stinker of mine, I just adored him to no end. Lu Jian, I want a daughter too, and if it's not, you're toast. I sat astride the emperor, threatening him fiercely. 10 months of pregnancy, and sure enough, a baby girl is more considerate of her mother. I barely suffered at all. Not like when I was pregnant with Lu Ziyu. When I threw up so much I barely looked human. On the 21st of the 11th lunar month, Lu Zishu came into the world with her first cries. From then on, the emperor completely became a slave to his daughter. I snuggled in his arms, my fingers naughtily tracing circles on his pecs. When exactly did you fall in love with me? His breath was hot as he kissed my ear. Perhaps it was in that year of purest hatred, when the silly fox did a backbend to pour tea and completely captured my attention. I thought of a position. You do a backbend, and then I slapped him across the face. Get lost. Then when did I fall in love with him? Perhaps it was on the day the rain was heaviest, when someone silently held a small umbrella up behind me.